pros and cons of waiting. And as I pull this up, why don't you? I'm sure we've got examples, but why don't you go ahead and introduce it?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, if you're talking about pros and cons, everything has pros and cons, right? It's impossible to avoid. I think the article will summarize it comes down to a personal choice at a personal time in your life, how long you're projecting out as far as whether you make a move in real estate. Um, where you're at in your life is what it almost always comes down to determine whether the pros and cons work for you or not. So for those who are out there saying, I'll buy in this market, there's reasons for that. And those who are out there saying they're not, maybe they don't have a long vision. Maybe they don't have upside in careers. Maybe they're concerned about financial future.
Yeah.
And and the external factors that could move the market one way or the other as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here it is. This is from Yahoo Finance. The pros and cons of waiting out the hot housing market. This is dated April 7th. So the pandemic put only a temporary damper on the housing market as the market rebounded robustly, hotter than ever, particularly in 2021. As we've rolled into 2022, the market is starting to simmer down just a little, but not too much. The median home price in January 2022 was $350,300 as compared to $356,700 from August 2021, according to the National Association of Realtors. And the inventory of unsold homes at the end of December 2021 dropped to an all-time low of 860,000. Even the rebound is no longer quite as dramatic as it looked in 2021, largely because inventory for sale dropped by 40% since the pandemic started and never quite came back to normal levels, said Bill Samuel, a real estate investor with Blue Ladder Development. Demand only slowed down for a couple of months during the quarantine period and then came back to normal, he said. However, supply hasn't quite caught up, meaning there are more buyers than sellers, part of what is driving the market right now. It's easy to feel the pressure to buy when houses are getting snapped up all around you, but does that mean you should jump, or is it better to wait out a hot housing market and see if it calms down? Experts weigh in on the pros and cons of waiting it out. All right. Don't let fear of missing out drive you. Just because everyone is buying a house doesn't mean you should be too, said Donald Olhausen, Jr., owner of We Buy Houses in San Diego. Hate that name. I have seen many people force bad decisions because they have fear of missing out. Forcing a bad deal will not rectify itself because there were no other options or because you felt stuck. Being patient in this market is hard, but overpaying for a faulty property will ultimately lead to more regret. Oops, sorry about my dogs. There are markets within markets. There is not one universal housing market, but rather many smaller micro markets, said Michael Shaka, Esquire, licensed associate real estate broker. Some of those submarkets are hot, less hot, or more hot, and they may change week by week or month by month. Alyssa Uribe, a realtor with Wells and Bennett Realtors, added that real estate is hyper-local, so consider the source. You can withstand any market changes if you don't have to move in a specific time frame. Any comments there, Darren?
A couple things. Number one, again, we're often finding these national articles, right? And the first thing they cite is a price shift, which is way lower than our local market. And I like that comment about each real estate market is local. Yeah, some of the generalities that affect it are the same. Interest rates, inventory is often moving in similar pools, but they can be tighter. It's certainly very tight in a lot of the neighborhoods we serve, and in Los Angeles in general, maybe tighter than many places in the nation. In Los Angeles, obviously affordability has become a huge thing as well. So maybe some buyers will be sidelined, which is what we're seeing a little bit with the interest rate movements.
Yeah. So this markets within markets. I mean, the example I know we've seen it happen is, El Sereno used to be a great place for value, and it still is. But the prices have gone up. But again, less hot, more hot, medium hot. That's still a good place to go. So, all right, 2022 is a slightly better time to buy. Real estate experts like Marina Vamond, the founder of Property Cash-In, said that 2022 would be a better time to buy because, quote, the demand for residential real estate is still vastly overshadowing the inventory. Indeed, now that 2022 has arrived, experts still agree that is the case, even with decreasing inventory. According to Time, home prices will not increase as rapidly, and home values will also likely increase at a less vigorous rate than the peak of 2021, which bodes well for buyers. Okay.
Right. So buyers aren't feeling that in our markets.
Right.
They're still getting buried. Your example of, walking into a property 4 days on the market, offers already due.
Yeah.
So we're a little more to the lower inventory aggressive buyers side in our local markets.
Okay. However, the Fed just raised interest rates. What made 2021 unique was extremely low interest rates, according to David Friedman, CEO of investment property platform Knox Financial. There have been very few times in history when we've seen 30-year fixed mortgage rates hovering around 3.3% and 15-year mortgage rates slightly above 2.6%, he said. However, on March 16, 2022, the Federal Reserve raised rates for the first time in years by 0.25%. What this likely means, according to NerdWallet, is that mortgage rates will follow suit by increasing, meaning home buyers will pay more in interest. No one can predict the next drop. Despite these slight increases in interest rates and decreases in inventory, this doesn't necessarily mean the market is going down. Carrie Washington, a broker and owner of First United Realty and Mortgage, said, "No one knows if the housing market will drop and when it will drop. Most reports talk about the market slowing in 2023, but not falling. Builders have not built enough housing and interest rates remain low."
Oh, wait. I just want to reiterate there. She's already talking about 2023.
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you who are thinking about waiting, they're already saying it's not even going to slow a year from now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The right time to buy is when a person is ready, adds Washington. So true. All right. Don't wait for a better price. Waiting can be a gamble, said Jeff Shipwash, CEO of Shipwash Properties, LLC. You could be waiting to purchase with the thought of prices coming down, but even if home prices do pull back some, if rates increase, it will all be for nothing. You may be able to afford a $300,000 house at current rates, but if those rates increase by 1% while you wait, that same payment may be on a $250,000 house. Very true. This was a discussion I had with our clients yesterday, Darren. They're approved up to 1.9 if they really wanted to go for it, but their comfort level was, I believe, at 1.45. They had an offer they could counter on, but I asked them to go to their lender, and it was a little different picture. I think that is more like 1.35 now as the comfort level.
Got it. Based on payment.
Yeah, it was like a 9. I think their comfort level was, for instance, like 7,000, and the new quote they got was 7,900 a month. Like, that 900's not going to do it for us.
And we're doing our best to remind people, all of our buyers, going, hey, you need to call your lender and see where it's at. Make sure you understand what you're getting into.
Yeah. Okay. Here we are. Rents are sky high. If not buying means renting, consider that the current rental market is on fire with rents skyrocketing and landlord incentives eliminated, said Chapeau. Renting will not be a cheaper option in the long run. Next is the market is stable. Unlike the unstable market leading up to the economic crash of 2008, this market is stable, said Jennifer Shannon, a broker associate with Keller Williams Realty. This market run-up hasn't been driven by investors, flippers, and bad mortgages. It's been driven by legitimate buyers who are more free to determine where they live than ever. While demand will start to slow eventually, she says there are no indicators of prices going down anytime soon. You're ready when you're ready. You're ready to buy a home when you're ready, not when there's a frenzy, said Tabitha Mazara, Director of Operations at mortgage lender MBANC. The frenzy is a seller's market, so missing out on a frenzy is a good thing for buyers. Chase Michaels, owner of Compass, the Michaels Group, added, if there are any more credits here, I'm going to go nuts.
We could just drop our name in there as a quote.
I will. If a client is fully committed to buying and is in the appropriate financial position to do so, then they should be looking. You may buy at a little lower or higher price at different times of year, but that is typically unpredictable in a smaller market. So
Well,
there you
it's also the cycles. There really are no cycles in our market and haven't been in a very long time. There's a very small window where people do check out, more people check out, and that's right at the holiday. But other than that, it's the same.
yeah, yeah. Well, again, another example of our recent listing. There was an agent who canceled their showing, and I think his clients kind of had him hypnotized a bit. But I said, "Well, how long have they been?" He said, "They think it's going to go to some crazy price, so they don't want to go see the house." I was like, they should probably see the house, but they said if it comes at this price, we'll jump in. So you let us know. I said,
No.
first off, you need to see the house because we're not going to accept an offer if you haven't seen the house. And I go, we're running here, so I think you should go see it. And please tell them, again, this is what you said, an agent informing their client of the ups, the downs, and the context of it all. I said, you need to let them know that this might be within their grasp. I go, I'm not just saying that to you, but it really might be within their grasp. And he wasn't of the area. I think he just felt beat up along with them, and they didn't make their showing.
We've been seeing that more lately, I must
Mhm.
say, in our past, maybe the listings this year. Just a lot of out of area agents.
Yeah.
It's become more and more acceptable that agents are not going, and it's just been a trend for a decade here, but it just seems to have accelerated, probably accelerated because of the pandemic. That
Mhm.
the clients are going to the house without their agents,
Yeah.
right? They're certainly not getting in a car. Even when they are showing up, they're showing up separately. But
Mhm.
now they're not even going in many, many cases. Um, and then that's become the standard question. Okay, you have an agent, great. Where are they? They're like Orange County,
Yeah.
Irvine,
Right.
West
Oh,
Side.
they'll just write the offer. It's okay.
It's
Is
kind of
it?
amazing
Yeah.
how detached some of the agents are, and it's what the industry is these days. But I will say it's a lot of work for an agent to show up to 25 houses and not have them work out. So you have to find a way to make sure, like for us, if a client goes without us, we're going to see that house before we write an
Yeah.
offer, if it's at all possible. And if
Absolutely.
it's a 3 day until, or 4 days, like in our case here, maybe you can't. I mean, like we wrote an offer recently, and the we wanted to go, and the agent said, "No, that's it. We're not showing it anymore."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, we don't have to see it if we want to. So yeah, it's interesting to see local clients without a area agents.
Yeah.
It's become more and more common.
Yeah.